This city is like no other you've been to. Crooked streets splay out in a maze of narrow passages, no two alike. Unable to afford rescue, you keep walking. It's hard finding your way through in pitch darkness. You quiet yourself, suddenly fearful. The clear sky tells you it's not thunder, but when you come to, there's no sign of the commotion.
Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land. By and by, I'll see them far and long. 'Cause when the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song.
A dusty truck and a man on horseback. The man with the truck leaps into the street.
Brother!
He shouts. The one on the horse tumbles out of his saddle.
Brother!
He screams. Everyone here is watching these two older men cry and hug one another in the middle of Main Street. As you usher them onto the sidewalk, the driver says,
Joe, I thought you were dead.
You can see storm clouds on the horizon, and you don't relish the thought. At the top of an ornate wrought iron spiral, you're breathless and feeling the strain on your knee. Looks like we got a visitor. Sounds like a man's voice. Deep. After a moment, the door unlatches from the inside and opens. The man before you is tall. Despite the rough exterior, this room looks like a well-appointed parlor. There's a rug on the well-trodden.
A few years.
The tall one sits on the sofa, wrapping his arm casually around the other lighthouse keeper. 5. You wake up the next morning on their old sofa, still warm from an excess of tea. And cakes? There might have been little cakes. Prodigious snoring rumbles in from the floor above you. As you walk along the river near an unfinished bridge, a man with a tool belt catches sight of you.
Great.
He exclaims. Suppose you'll want a safety belt. We Thunderbird people don't need 'em. We fly when we fall. He chuckles. You find yourself up high, looking over the rushing river that crashes around the foundation of the bridge. As you work side by side, you ask him to explain. Practice your... You only see the clouds thicken.
Hey there, stranger. You're welcome to enjoy this fire with me, if you're respectful, that is. This here is my spot, and I ain't inclined to share it with any bad characters. You can call me Quinn. These here are my venturing companions. Cass, I usually beat my way on the rails, but the road news said this town was fat and the weather was fine. So I'm taking in the sights and seeing what I can drum up. Hey, tell me one of those exciting stories. I don't get too much out of tales that are so cheerful. Not enough excitement for me. What's my future? I ain't looking for a traveling companion, if that's what you mean. I do fine by myself, so just stick to minding your own. You got any Not sure I quite follow that one. Authority? Bosses and such? I ain't nobody's little Angelina, if that's what you're asking. I take care of myself and I don't need no jocker looking out for me. So, you want to keep enjoying my spot or not? Think about that. I want a story that scares me. Ain't life got enough tear-jerkers in it without telling stories like that? Jeez, sad. Oh, so you think just 'cause I'm young, I gotta be sad. I don't need you looking after me, so what you really ought to be asking yourself is if you want to keep enjoying my Hey, tell me a funny story. You seem like you still got a sense of humor. Were you trying to scare me? Well, you didn't go far enough. Well, I don't know a whole lot about They say there's an Injun grave around these parts. Say it's haunted and full up with angry spirit. I used to love hearing stories of cowboys and Injuns fighting it up. I want to hear one of them venturing tales. Well, that sure was a downer. Give me a good venture tale instead. There ain't no way I'm gonna start jaw-flapping about that. Well, night's over. I think I'll see what's happening up the road this way. Didn't understand all your stories, but I'd gladly... The tramping life suits me just fine. Every day's event with things being so depressed. Plenty nice things to see if you know where to look.
wanderers like you are looking for a place to camp.
We heard there's a Leatherman cave nearby.
They tell you. They describe a locally famous vagrant. You and the other wanderers find the cave easily, because someone's lit a fire there. His coat is crudely stitched from leather plates that squeak against each other.
The Leatherman.
One of the others whispers.
A ghost. Are you a ghost?
Shouts one of the others.
Huh? Leatherman?
You're 10 yards away before you glance back and see the Leatherman standing outside his cave. By nightfall, the hospitality of this sleepy hamlet, combined with their superstitious tales, has both overstuffed your stomach and filled you with a hollow dread. In the moonlight, every valley and hollow at the feet of the Tappan Zee, but something cuts through the noise. The muffled sound of hooves galloping on the cold, muddy road. When he finds he's astride a gigantic black courser. His voice is a rumbling croak, deep, but as though his throat is filled with thorns. You mumble an apology and watch as he silently rides away. The hotel is an old manor house that's seen better days. A grand structure surmounted by a gambrel roof that dwarfs the house itself. It's eerily still, but for two boys at play. Each one so small and light, they barely leave. They seem old for their size, around 10 years old. Though the clerk behind the counter is old, and your room key is worn. In the morning, as you leave, the clerk asks, "Did you sleep well?" Too tired to lie, you tell him about the noise outside your door, the trampling of small feet on the corridor outside. come across a girl picking wild blueberries. She smiles and greets you. You reach in the basket for blueberries, but pull out a handful of small, smooth stones, all the colors of the rainbow. The stones tumble from your hand and hit the ground, instantly turning black as the night.
Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep that stride stuck in my soul. 'Cause when my toes burn low and my trains run out of track, I won't be no one else to well,
My twin brother Paul and I always got into trouble, but we didn't do nothing to anybody until we left. Then we hurt a lot of people. Me, more so than Paul, because well, the march I was on, the bonus army. It's less a bonus and more an acknowledgement of what I've had to suffer. Tell me a happy story. Something to make the world seem kind. For a moment there, just a moment, I felt that the past doesn't even feel like it happened. When your memories come back to you, they clutch at you. So anyway, tell me a funny story? You seem like you know a few good. You know, the government told us to keep our chins up. The future's the issue. Great War leaves us nothing to... Do you know any happy stories? Oh, come on. Home. Well, my sister, Jessie. I made my own way for a while after. Do you know any happy stories? Hope... I don't mean to be rude. My family. Some days I wish I could find Jessie again. Know any good jokes? That can't be true. That sounds like a navy. Freedom is getting paid what you deserve. Freedom is the ability to be free. Here's the sun. I've got to go. I'm headed up the road this way. Days come and go and the terrors return. They'll never... What about you?
no companion except the wind and the sea. And when I'm cold and empty, they're the ones who'll bury me.
mailman's uniform is dated and worn. The letter's addressed to a James Gibson Sr., 120 J Street. But the city stymies you. The blocks run straight from I to K. You stop a man for directions, but he shakes his head and laughs.
Over here.
A woman in a brown coat overheard your question. She steers you down an alley. As you round the corner, the world changes. J Street is a place out of... The man who answers is ancient and stooped. He peers at the letter.
I think it's from my son.
He fights it, but his face crumbles.
Well, I'm gonna scrawl my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much behind to drag me down. Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep that stride tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, there won't be no one else to dig my Well, I got no
Clouds roll together to fill the sky.
wind and the sea.
You shelter beneath a rocky overhang. The lightning is so strong that it seems to open a path in the haze. The thunder is so immense that the ground trembles.
Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. 'Cause when the night come down for to take me hand in hand.
Sorry, friend, but I gotta ask you not to get no closer unless I can see your hands. It'll look too clean to be one of us. But you don't look like the company sent you. Alright, come and share my fire spell. Don't linger. And I'll give you cornbread. Don't be so sure of me neither. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I just seen dog. You'd be popular at mealtime where I'm from. You'd keep a whole crew glued, I bet. What's freedom? When the community decides what it's worth? Setting the value of things together? You mean when you don't answer to nobody? Just think possible, my friend. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly. Guess there ain't no joke that works on it. Travel? Well, next time you take a train, take a peek on up at its beating heart. It's black breath. It's just what a mining man looks like inside him. Coal dust. See anything exciting out there on the road? Mostly I... brings me back. There was a time when me and Big Ben could just enjoy exciting stories like this one. Death. Yeah. Little tin of morphine some of us carried down so as to die peaceful, just in case. Some thought it better to die a sinner than to go with death's hand pulling the breath out of your body slow as he goes. I think God would have forgiven it. He would have had to. What do you think? Anyway, I need something to laugh about. Got any funny ones? Come on, don't try to cheer me up with that lying nonsense of the past. I remember looking between my mama's ankles and still don't know if she would count the workers, praying about them. Got any funny stories? Must have a... You reading to me out of a dime novel? That stuff ain't true. Home? I always wanted... Morning. I gotta get going. Headed up that way. Won't be specific, for my safety and yours. You wanna find me? Then do it. Hole ain't got no country. A worker is a worker. If you're one of them, if you think I sound red, you best come out and say so. Get it over with.
This will be my tale, my vagrant song. This will be my tale, my vagrant song.
Outside the small thicket of apple trees, the phrase tended to by John Chapman, his car. There's an extra shovel. With it, the two of you make short work of the... He stoops to the ground and lowers the pup into the earth. Tears flow freely. I'll see him again in heaven. A family of 9 invites you into their home for a meal. Hogs roam free in the yard. They wallow in shady patches of cool mud. During supper, the hard wind puts an awful burden on the walls. The glass dishes rumble on the table, but the mother seems calm. The mother's heavy sigh gives you the impression her children ask this often. Me ma wants more pig's feet. Heaven can provide.
Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerates tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to dig my hole.
He's small for his age. Boy of 13 or so, sitting west. You notice the Model A truck on the yard. piled high with furnishings and trunks, and with one toe tip, he scratches a parabola on the dead, dry ground.
Pa says we can't afford to feed Rover no more.
You can't bear to stay long. A crooked bend in the road leads you away from the dust-choked farm, past stands of twisted trees.
Ones who'll bury me. Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. When the night comes down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song.
No fence, gate, or sign marks the entrance to the cemetery. Just a moment ago, you weren't surrounded by graves, and now you are. A wood board, bleached white, unknown. The word, you're already quiet, so maybe it's silly. A sparrow calls. Seems birds don't have much respect for the dead. Looks nicer now, but electric lamps stipple the cotton field before you with an orange light. You're gently lulled to sleep as the song floats over you. You're pulled out of your slumber by a woman's pained scream and a collection of shouts rising from the field. The woman's screams taper off. You wake up to the
But you ain't gonna hear me crying, 'cause I got that soul sucker blues. Well, I met a man downtown, smile as white as death, eyes like rolling dice, and easy bargains on his breath. He said you don't need that pain, child, but how about something you can really use? You ain't gonna want for nothing when you get that soul sucker blues. Oh, yeah. Woo. All right.
The soldier sits in the dirt with his legs splayed out, like a child would sit. Beneath, you kneel in front of the soldier. His body is marked with bullet holes. The soldier leans in, uncomfortably close to inspect your features. Were his pupils solid white before now? A shadow falls on the soldier's face. "You damn Yankee!" He pulls you in by the wrist and drives a Bowie knife into your gut. As the blade bites your flesh, the soldier stares into your eyes. His
won't heed temptation. I just walk on by. Won't heed temptation. I just walk on by.
You find yourself in a poker game on the third floor of the Weinkauf Hotel. The man with the burned face to your left, he never gave his name, growls at the smiling man seated on your right. You ain't got the stomach. This hand comes down to the burned man and smiler. You've got an okay hand. Not a world beater, but not nothing. For a moment, you think you have it. But smiler calls and you're outclassed. Roy's preoccupied and has to be nudged into dealing. You finally hit a decent hand. Roy is still staring at Smiler. What'd you say your name was? I didn't, but it's Jackson. Jackson, repeats Roy. I knew a Jackson once. There's a fierce look in Roy's eye. You play your hand well, but Smiler has you beat. As you leave the hotel, you smell smoke. You cross the street and look up. Flames have engulfed the third floor, where you played the game. The fire spreads hungrily. Faded shotgun houses sit in rows under the tall shadows of smokestacks. As you shut the door, the man glances out the window and draws the shade. You glance over the man's shoulder. He hands you a can of whole potatoes, then a leaflet which reads, "No evictions, no fascists, no hunger." Headed back to the shop, but we'll have a Bible meet soon. Nothing wrong with that. Careful in those boxcars, traveler, and take care of your neighbor. The blistering sun has scared even birds into the shade. But a middle-aged woman and a young couple are still collecting scraps of cotton at the machinery. The three of them rush over to you, suddenly reanimated. They pass around your canteen. When you get it back, you emerge from the underbrush and find yourself at the edge of a field. The family is almost too nice to you. When you ask for water, they don't even let you walk to the pump by the house. A child runs back to the shed for a folding chair. Halfway through your glass, you notice someone moving furtively down by the house. The cuffs of his white shirt are stained red. The father sees your look and shifts to block your view. His wife arrives with a bag full of sandwiches for you, and the whole family ushers you back into the woods, waving, wishing you well. You take one look back over your shoulder.
I take a look at you. Figure we're heading to the same place. You ever wonder if that place don't exist? No shame in it, I do. You start to wonder, how did I get here? When you're alone, all you have is all this time. Time to trip. But anyway, you know any good true tragedies? I feel like one of those tonight. I hear you. There's some sadness out there. Things get took from you. You realize that things get took from you. That's a dark place. You got any good happy stories where things work out for someone, maybe? Good to hear a story that's more happy than the world really is. I think about the past sometime. I never wanted nothing but to be a farmer. I ain't never gonna be a farmer now. So, tell me a sad story. Body and soul. Change. When I was a young man, it took a while for me to accept it. Or, you know any good scary stories? Or see something spooky on you? Well, you're good at telling these. Of course I've seen traps. When a man comes to your door and say, take all this. When it come again and take everything all back, you realize it was a trick. But tell me, what's the wildest thing you've seen out there so far? I guess we all got a different sense of humor. Stories about traveler, well and good. When I first pick up and moved, here's the sun. I got to get going. It's probably the kind of story you've heard a million times. Down on your luck, need work, take whatever you can get. How about you? Does my
Well, I'm gonna scrawl my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels to the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found.
The cave is really a man-made hole breaching into an earthen mound.
Readying these for sale, friend.
He wipes his head.
Why, these skulls belong to no one. They're just here.
Little sunlight reaches that deep in, but you can still see the skeletal remains, their heads carelessly removed. You pause and consider this small man, greedily arranging someone's remains as though they were a trinket for a mantelpiece. It's crude and ridiculous, but he's a crude and ridiculous man. You have him run off the mound, sworn never to tell of what he's seen, for fear of monsters and ghosts.
They're the ones who'll bury me.
I suppose most expect a Negro to end up in prison. Yeah, there's two kinds in my estimation. There's a prison with bars, where they lock you up, as everywhere else. But anyway, you, know any good true tragedy? Body and soul. Death. And when you do time, you're only doing some of your time. It all ends, like everything else. So, tell me a sad story. I hear you. I felt some strange. When you get a glimpse of real freedom after. But anyway, you know any good true tragedies? I feel like one of those too. Body and soul. Choice. Maybe we should. So, tell me a sad story. I'm free. After all those years of hard, kind of felt like being fired from a job. But tell me, what's the wildest thing you've... Trying to scare me. Imprisonment. That's all anybody wants, isn't it? Stability. Here's the sun. Well, I gotta get... It was good talking to you. Though I'm heading up the road this way. Maybe I'd like to tell you more about what it's like coming out of prison. About what it's like on the outside. In the prison without bars.
I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. When the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song. Yeah, this will be my...
Excusez-moi.
Beckoning you over, the woman shows you a letter, beautifully typeset on thick vellum. You are dismayed to read the first paragraph. Lorem ipsum dolor sit amet, and the address under the monogram in the letterhead. You send her around a nearby corner at random.
Merci.
She exclaims, clasping the letter to her bosom, stars in her eyes.
I'm gonna scrawl my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna
First tree in a mile, and it's a stout myrtle with bald branches. You cool down in the shade. The breeze blows through the bottles. The dense sound of many conversations cuts your nap short. There's no one around.
Can't get enough. Porcelain, chrome, the rusty ones.
Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerites tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to dig my...
You rest in a field where a well-dressed stranger talks your ear off on all manner of subjects.
Death bones. Heard 'em rattle like clank, clink, clank. That don't matter. I'm fine. Got my savior waiting at the pearly gates.
Man,
Sure was good to meet you.
the man pauses, rubs his chin, and
And when I'm cold and empty, they're the ones who'll bury me. Well, I'm gonna cast my stones o'er the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. When the night come down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song. Yeah, this will be my tale, my vagrant song.
his smile lights up the room. Or rather, the cat. Sure doesn't help much. The engineer pulls that a round of applause erupts from the small crowd.
Remember now who gets you there on the advertised. Casey Jones.
I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found.
We need a sixth,
she told you. Beckoning, your host keeps her eyes closed as she beseeches the spirits of the whole table starts to shake, threatening to lift. All 6 of you, emplaced around that table, seem to recoil from one another's hands all at once. And the woman who invited you seems to want to try again.
Won't be no one else to dig
A sign in town says a farmer is hiring for the sugarcane harvest. A young man in a red jacket stuffs all the hatchets in his pack.
this is stupid,
He says,
I'm leaving. You can get $5 for a nice axe like this.
He marches off into the cane and others follow. The thief left some hatchets behind, so you and the 3 chumps left start chopping cane. It's brutal work. Sometime after noon, the truck rolls up with a boozy foreman riding shotgun. Good work, he croaks. The girl wipes her blood-pinked hands on her apron to take her pay, but doesn't notice the crumpled body in the back of the truck, or the hatchets he...
my stones or the waters of this land, and by I'll see them far and long. When the night comes down for to take me hand in hand, this will be my tale, my vagrant song. Yeah, this will be my tale, my vagrant song.
Evening there. You looking for a sermon or just a chat? Don't really matter, frankly. First thing I ever learned behind the pulpit is that every homily is just a conversation. Ain't as one-sided as you might think either. Preachers ain't shepherds, they're cowboys. So how about you take a seat and guide us somewhere? Anyway, why don't you tell me a scary story? You must have heard some good ones. Oh, you could rattle a congregation's bones, I bet. Bondage? Yeah, bet my daddy's dad one time is all I needed to know that some chains ain't ever coming off you. Don't matter what sort of proclamation a white man in a suit makes. Hey, do you have any spooky campfire tales? Feels appropriate out here, right? I'm not sure that one moves me. Travel? Oh, I travel. I've been everywhere. Chicago, I've been everywhere. Chicago, lately, my journey's been pretty ordinary. sorry, that kind of thing don't scare me anymore. Freedom? I hear it a lot. Well, I like the freedom. So no church or temple or praise house for me. My congregation is America itself. You must have seen some pretty wild stuff on the road. Tearjerkers need a little more sadness? No, a preacher ain't allowed to. We have to be salve. Folks like me can't be sad for ourselves. Lately, my journey's been pretty ordinary, just walking church to church. That strikes me as a shallow kind of hope. Dreams come true? Well, heaven is as real as God. Promise of the afterlife is, well, I gotta get moving on. Have a sermon to give in the morning. Walk like you're blessed, child.
I'm gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman comes for to tally up my worth, I won't leave much to find that can be found. I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerates tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track, won't be no one else to dig my hole. Cold and empty, they're the ones.
He sings as he works, his voice warm and soft as make him malicious, he says to your unasked question. I sell the blackstrap in town. Farmers use it for feed. Bitter as hell. He grins. I don't notice it no more. I've been doing this a while. I keep back a few bottles to share. I don't charge neither. Folks around here need what they can get. Makes a mean loaf of bread. You help him haul the barrels over to the metal boiler. You pour in the juice and set the fire. It's hot work. He fetches water and dark bread, and you share the small meal and a smile. It's good to find another who takes joy in honest labor.
My vagrant song. gonna scroll my name on the bare bones of the earth. I'm gonna dig my heels into the ground. 'Cause when that ferryman...
The lightning starts in the next valley over. The lightning momentarily illuminates a farmhouse on the opposite hilltop. You pound and pound on the door of the house, but you only get confused shouts from it. In the morning, you're woken suddenly by the sound of clattering china. A tiny old woman bends over you.
Well, I'm gonna heft my spade up upon my weary back. I'm gonna keep lacerates tucked in my soul. 'Cause when my coals burn low and my trains run out of track,